Hello, everyone. We are going to start any minute now. Hello, everyone. We are going to start any minute now. Hello, everyone. We are going to start. Because there are people on this. All right. We are going to start. Hello, welcome to Plexuss's webinar college series. Today, my name is Sina Shayesta, and I'm here from Plexuss.com. Welcome to Plexuss's webinar college series. Today, my name is Sina Shayesta. Today we have Liberty University, and our special guest is Dr. Wegert, who handles the international programs at Liberty University. We are super excited to have Dr. Wegert joining us. He has been at Liberty University for 33 years. And Liberty University, as many of you know, is one of the best Christian colleges in the world. Dr. Wegert has actually been has studying secular education and also faith-based education, so he has experience in both arenas, which is great. He has also traveled 15 countries, so he's an avid traveler, and he has a lot of experience when it comes to that. Before I turn this over to Dr. Wegert and his presentation, I am going to start by telling you some of the new things that are happening at Plexuss that we are very excited about. The first part, as you can see on my screen, is once you log in into your Plexuss account, there's a new tab called International Resources on top. We got a lot of inquiries from students asking us a lot of questions about how do I come to US? Can you help me? So we put this together and we are super excited about it. You're now able to see some application check lane, finding the right college. You can see scholarship, financial aid. So there's a lot of information here and free information for you to browse through. It's very condensed and it's really around things that are important to our students. Also now, you're able to click on college expense breakdown on top. Obviously, cost, it is probably the #1 issue that comes up after scholarships when we talk to our students. Everybody wants to know, well, how much is this going to cost me or my parents? So now we put this together. You're able to, once you're into this tab, you're able to check the degrees offered. So let's say you're looking for a bachelor's degree, associated degree. You're able to look at different majors that we have. You're able to also look at the location, the name of the university, the ranking, estimated cost. So how much is this going to cost me? Also EA, which is estimated assistant. So if potentially if a school has a scholarship, you're able to see that information here. Okay, and MAC is essentially estimated cost minus the estimated assistant, which we think that's going to be your final cost. So this is a really useful tab for you to go through. Another thing that we've added at Plexuss, we've helped thousands of students through their application process. And we get a lot of students that now come back to us and they want to help our community. And one of the things we start adding was college essays. So now you're able to see what happened that this student was able to get to the school. So you're able to look at their essay. You're able to Look at even some other information that the student might have shared about themselves. So this is a really great tool for you to be able to browse through. So you can actually read the essay. You can see what school the student applied to. So this is a really great way for you to get helpful tips from us to be able to see what got a student into a college. The last part I want to show you is now our Plexuss application. One of the most frustrating things, as everybody knows, about applying to colleges is you have to apply to, every school has their own application, and it can be pretty frustrating. Also, it can be pretty cost intensive. So we've come up with a Plexuss application, with Plexuss One app. And essentially, it's a common app for international students. You're able to fill out some basic information. There are some information such as your transcript, financial aid that you do need to upload onto Plexuss as well. So these are things that you need to go through. And once you fill this out, we'll be able to send it to the college. Okay. For people that are present on this call, on this webinar with us, we do have a great offer. So now you're able to email us. I think one of my colleagues is going to put that email on YouTube. It is premium, PREMIUM @plexuss.com. You can email us. We will basically, Liberty University has been generous enough to waive their application fee. This is a really great way for you to apply to Liberty University, which is one of the highest ranked schools when it comes to faith-based institutions. And it's a great way for you to start your process of coming to America. With that being said, I am now excited to turn this presentation shortly over to Dr. Wegert, who is going to now present. Dr. Wegert, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you very much, Sina. I'm very, very delighted to participate in this webinar with Plexuss. I'd like to make sure all of our listeners know that we have been here at Liberty University. I've been very impressed with the Plexuss platform, and we just are delighted to partner with you in this particular presentation, as well as in the larger reach of your global constituency. And so it's exciting for me to present this topic on the surprising benefits of a faith-based education. As Sina said, I have been enrolled in Miami University of Ohio, Ohio State University, Colorado State University, and so with these secular schools, I have some experience in the life of an undergraduate and a graduate student at non-faith-based schools. And then, of course, as you said, Sina, I've been 33 years at Liberty University, and I've studied here with 2 degrees. So I have my feet in both worlds, as you say. And having been the Dean of International Student Programs and having traveled extensively around the world, I've been able to make this presentation at Education USA departments in Korea, Vietnam, and China. So it's an honor for me to be part of this webinar, and we thank you, Plexuss, for the opportunity to do that. I think our listeners are interested in what is a faith-based university, and I think that's a good place to start. What's the difference between a faith-based university and other universities? Because that's an important distinction. So one of the things that we find that faith-based universities are most often supported by a religious body or more than one religious body. And a faith-based university is going to teach, practice, and allow discussion of religious values on campus. And so although we talked about religion when I was at secular universities, there was no particular teaching of religious values, and there was certainly no practice of a consistent lifestyle that's associated with a given faith. But here at Liberty University, we like to think that we're consistent in that we we hold to a Christian worldview, and we encourage our students to practice a Christian lifestyle, and we also have free discussion of religious values and other religions. And so that's kind of one of the main themes of a faith-based university, that you're going to have some teaching and some lifestyle that corresponds with that faith. And so we look at what are the distinctions of a faith-based university. Well, I think there are several of them. One is a consistent worldview. Now that's interesting when you look at the definition of the word university. University. And I often ask our newly arriving students, what does uni mean? And they all say, well, a unicycle has one wheel, so uni must mean one. And then I ask them, what does versatile or versity mean? And they all get the idea that if a person is versatile, they can do many things. And so you have the idea of one and many. That's part of even the very word university. And so what I point out to these students is that we teach many disciplines. We teach math and accounting and aviation and engineering and so forth at Liberty, but there's a consistent unifying worldview. And that's where the uni from university comes in. And so it's important to realize that at a faith-based university, you might get a more consistent worldview rather than bouncing between professor and professor, and each professor has a different philosophy of life and a different worldview. At a faith-based university, there's going to be a greater degree of consistency. Faith-based universities receive funding often from one or more religious organizations. There may or may not be a religious or a church affiliation. At Liberty University, we're not in low. Some slides in a few moments that show the various ways that we encourage students to adopt and develop habits that are going to serve them for the rest of their lives with a healthy lifestyle. And then faith-based universities, certain practices, and drinking is one of the ones that comes to the fore. And having been at secular universities in Ohio, practiced, and I know that there are many distractions. So I would like our listeners to realize this is not a list of things you can't do. What faith-based universities are trying to accomplish is to create an environment that is very conducive to learning. And one of the reasons and ways we do that is by minimizing distractions. And so if my roommate were to be coming in at 2 o'clock, after having been out drinking late night, and I'm trying to get up the next morning for 7 o'clock to take an exam at 8 o'clock, I would consider that to be a distraction. And that was a distraction for me when I was at other schools. But at faith-based universities, those kind of practices are discouraged. And so what's interesting is to realize that there are over 4,000 colleges and universities in the United States. But 1,200 of them approximately are actually faith-based institutions. So that's probably a surprising number to our listeners, to realize that over 1/4 of the colleges and universities in the United States are faith-based institutions. Now, of course, these institutions are going to vary widely in terms of some of the distinctives that we've talked about in the previous slide. But at Liberty University, I think that we are maybe a cutting-edge faith-based institution in the sense that we're very strong in our faith, but very strong in our academics and a very, very exciting lifestyle as well. So what's interesting is also is if you look at historically faith-based universities, I'm sure every one of our listeners recognizes the names Harvard, Yale, Princeton, and Brown. These are some of the top 10, probably listed among the top 10 universities in the United States. But do our listeners realize that the founders of each one of these universities were motivated by a very strong faith? And now having visited Harvard and Yale myself, I realized that there are many Christian Bible verses that are engraved in many places in stone around these universities, because these founders were motivated by a very strong faith. And I think it's important to realize that there's a connection between the faith-based foundation that these universities had and the reasons that they are excellent today. Because Liberty University, as a relatively young university, we were started in 1971, is on its way to becoming a world-class university. And I believe that at some point in time, Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Brown, and Liberty University will be names that will be recognized together. Now, that's not the case now, of course. Very few people recognize the name of Liberty University. But I'd like us to consider the fact that it was the faith that was at the foundation of these Ivy universities that gave them the foundation for excellence. And that foundation is present in faith-based universities today. And I think it's very, very strong at Liberty University. And I think you'll see why in a few moments. So why a faith-based university? Why should a student from abroad consider attending a faith-based university? I think there's some surprising benefits here that I'd like to suggest might be more important than rankings. And let's look at those, because what we're talking about, unlike me, most students will come to college and leave college when they're done, and they will go out and they will get a job, they will live their lives. And the question becomes, what kind of foundation were they given at their university? What happens at a university? Well, students, in most cases, are going to go from teenage years to adult years. I started college when I was 17, and when I graduated, I was in my mid-20s. I'd gone from a teenager to an adult. So what happens during those college years is very important, because it is preparing students for a career or a profession, of course, but it also should serve to prepare students for life. And I think that's a very important issue to consider, is to what extent will I be prepared for life itself, not just a profession? Because we know there are many people who've gotten into their profession, but other aspects of their lives are maybe not so happy, or maybe what's going on in their personal lives negatively impacts what they're able to do for their career or their profession. And at Liberty, we look at the whole person. And so at a faith-based institution, a student is going to gain much more than a degree or a transcript during their college years. That student is going to be formed into an adult. That student is going to be developing habits that will last them the rest of their life. That person is going to be building a network of contacts that person will stay in touch with, friends that will be with them for life. And many students, of course, find a spouse at a university. And so these are some things that I think are important to think about when you're making the college choice. So faith-based universities focus on preparing students not just for a profession, but for life and adulthood itself. And I think back upon my time at secular universities and realized I was given very little preparation. In fact, some of the things that I got involved in at secular universities that did not set me up for success. As a married individual and as an employee. But at faith-based universities, we take that very seriously. We focus on the whole person. So the first benefit that you find is that if I could go to just a worldview that challenges students to change the world and make an impact. And then students at faith-based universities are often motivated by a cause that is just higher than man's ideas. Because with faith, we believe in a higher being. We believe in a God. We believe that there's a purpose for us being here. We believe in a calling. We believe that that we are here to make the world a better place and to impact the world. And we certainly take that seriously at Liberty University. So students who graduate from Liberty University and other faith-based institutions are infused with a cause, a purpose, and a vision to make the world, to make a difference in the world. And our founder at Liberty University was a man of very big vision and a man of very great faith. And that spirit, if I could use that word, that ethic still lives today at our university. And so students who come to Liberty University have the opportunity to exercise their own faith And we're reminded that it's not just what we know. It's not just our knowledge of our particular subject or our profession or discipline. It has more to do with the vision that we have for making the world a better place. It has to do with our calling in this world. The second benefit of a faith-based university is that, as I said earlier, there's a focus on the whole person. And so morality and integrity are important. Whole person development, wholesome relationships. As I said before, minimization of distractions on campus so we can focus on those relationships and on that learning and on that professional development. And then a value-based learning. Now, why are these things important? Let's take a look at some quotes here from U.S. News and Daily Report. The number one quality that employers look for is the quality of empathy. Well, that's an interesting word, but it's a character-based word. It's not something you get from a textbook. Employers not only want you to do the job, but they want you to care about it. They want you to care about the people with whom you will be interacting. And so we see that that's very, very important. And at Liberty, those kind of character-related issues are emphasized. And then there's another quote here from the Association of American Colleges and Universities that more than 9 in 10 of those surveyed say it is important that they hire people with demonstrated ethical judgment and integrity, intercultural skills, and the capacity for continued new learning. Faith-based universities are very strong in those particular areas. In fact, at Liberty University, we have students from over 70 countries. And so our students get a cross-cultural experience because as the world's largest Christian university, we recruit students from around the world, and we recruit some of the brightest and the best Christian students from all 50 states as well. So it's a significant melting pot. So students at faith-based universities graduate with the skill set they need, but they also can act with integrity. They can lead with honor. They can work with discipline. They can show up to work on time. They can put in a full day's work for a full day's pay. They can get along with their colleagues. They can bring solutions to problems rather than just report problems. And so, see, these are some of the things that are emphasized at faith-based universities. And we are finding that the graduates of Liberty University are in demand around the world because even though an employer might not be a person of faith, they recognize that the products of faith-based universities are the kinds of people they want to have serving in their company. Benefit number 3 is a service orientation, because at faith-based universities, there's a culture of giving back, helping others, and that allows the students to learn how to think critically. Many of our students travel globally because they're doing service projects abroad. I was on a trip to Guatemala just last week and ran into students going to the same country at the airport in Miami, Florida, and I was just surprised that that Liberty students are everywhere, and they're traveling the globe, gaining practical experience, learning how to think cross-culturally, to solve problems, and to serve humanity. And they experience other cultures, as I just said, and that gives them the opportunity to broaden their worldview. So what that does is it allows the student to build a resume that is attractive and more valuable to an employer. And this is something that when I travel abroad, I always encourage our high school students, build your resume while you're in college. It's important that you end up with more than a transcript. You need more than a grade point average of 3.2 and 4 years of college transcript. You need to put into your resume the volunteer experiences, the campus employment experiences, the travels that you did during breaks, what you worked on during the summer. And so we emphasize that at Liberty University, encouraging our students to participate, for example, in our Washington, D.C. internship, a one-semester opportunity to gain practical experience in Washington, D.C. We're 3.5 hours from D.C., as you'll see in a moment. Now, the fourth benefit is a sense of community, because at faith-based universities, there's often a common faith bond. And this is not to say that every student at Liberty University is a Christian. We have students of other faiths here. We even have some Muslim students, and we have Catholic students, we have Hindu students. But we are bound together by a sense of community. We realize that faith is important to our lives. And so this allows us to have maybe smaller class sizes in our upper grades with closer faculty interaction. Our students learn in a safe and nurturing environment. Students are cared for personally as well as academically because our faculty are men and women of strong faith. So they have the opportunity to interact with the students on a personal level. And so students, if I look back upon my years of college, there were problems, there were challenges, there were things I needed an adult to talk to me about, not just my academic questions, but my personal questions and my life experience questions and challenges and problems. And so to go to a faith-based university gives you the opportunity to have faculty members who are your mentors, who are your counselors, in addition to being your professors. So students then graduate with a strong support network. Students who share their faith, faculty members who've become their mentors, their counselors, their coaches, and their friends. This is one of the strongest points of a faith-based university. And I'm pleased when I see so many examples of that at Liberty University. But then faith-based universities, I think sometimes we just think that only the secular schools or those universities that were at one time faith-based have the impressive academics. Well, that is not the case because faith-based universities often have very impressive academics because we enroll the best and the brightest students, as I said, from 50 states and 40 and 70 more countries. And our faith motivates faculty to be excellent in their field. And for example, we just completed our new science hall, and we hired one of the best forensic scientists in the country. He's a strong man of faith, and he helps our students become the best they can possibly be in their field of forensic science. So students have the opportunity to learn from professors who hold themselves to a high standard of excellence. Faith really does promote a climate of success. And our founder used to say, and he said it often, if it's Christian, it ought to be better. And I think at Liberty University, we have risen to that challenge. So even though private faith-based universities are privately funded, many of them, including Liberty University, provide scholarships, work study, and personalized assistance to our students. And so you can see here that Liberty's tuition compared to other private institutions is in the lowest third, and we, among all private colleges, are in the lowest 1/3 in terms of our tuition. So many times faith-based universities can provide a lower cost of education, and as we do, because we believe that universities should be global and internationalized, provide scholarship assistance to all of our undergraduate international students. So Liberty University, if I could just kind of break away for a few moments here and talk about my particular faith-based university and how we put some of these principles into practice. We are a premier institution for a faith-based education. We are the world's largest Christian university. We have a location that is absolutely amazing. We are 3.5 hours or so from Washington, D.C. I mentioned our Washington Fellowship, where students spend a semester in our nation's capital and doing internships with Red Cross and the Organization of American States or congressional offices or National Geographic. And we've had some in the White House, the Supreme Court, an opportunity to gain very valuable practical experience. We're also in a very beautiful location, nestled up against the Blue Ridge Mountains in a very safe city, Lynchburg, Virginia. This is an aerial view of a portion of our campus. There's a portion behind the photographer in this particular picture. We have invested within the last 7-8 years about $1 billion in campus infrastructure development. So most of the buildings that you see in this particular aerial photograph are new within the last 7 years. It's an amazing world-class campus with state-of-the-art facilities and a very high-tech campus with faculty and teachers who correspond with that level of quality. Curriculum, as I said, is taught from a Christian worldview. And because we are a faith-based university, we do emphasize whole person development. We want our students to be the best in their profession with the best knowledge, knowledge that they could possibly bring and receive while they're here. But also we believe that their bodies should be healthy and that their spirit should be whole and their faith should be alive. And so those are some of the things that we emphasize here at Liberty. Many undergraduate degree programs and our focus is on career preparation. And we emphasize practical experience and character development. Why? Because we know that students can go to a secular school across town and get the career preparation. What they might not be able to get at other universities is a strong background in practical experience and character development. So some of the more popular majors for international students at Liberty is our School of Business. We have engineering, various engineering degrees, including mechanical, industrial, computer, systems, and electrical. A very strong aviation program with state-of-the-art fleet of airplanes, a very strong aviation maintenance program, and students can actually graduate with a degree in aviation maintenance management, or they could come to a one-year program and get Federal Aviation Administration certification in aviation maintenance technology. And so our students who graduate with these certificate or this degree are offered jobs in the growing airline industry. Health science is big, communication, pre-medicine, biomedical sciences, studio and digital arts. We have a School of Music facility that has one of the most amazing concert halls anywhere on the East Coast. We have a degree in film, where our students learn all facets of film production, strong theater program, sport management, athletic training. These are just a few of the degrees offered at Liberty University. As I said earlier, we've invested nearly $1 billion worth of campus renovations. This is our new high-tech library. We have a robotic system that retrieves books. We have high-tech collaborative learning rooms for students to work on projects together, because we believe that the problems of today's world are solved in groups. And so we emphasize collaborative efforts in problem solving and projects. And we have special rooms for our students to actually gather, and they write on the walls. They have high-tech computer projectors and other facilities in the library to help them work on their projects. A very new science hall, student union, athletic facilities. We mentioned program internship opportunities, and of course international students are aware of the OPT, optional practical training, that international students qualify for 1 year or more if they are a STEM major after graduation. And we fully support our students applying for OPT and taking maximum advantage of the opportunity to work after they graduate. And we have a very strong career center that offers workshops, resume building training for our students, and job fairs where we bring in companies and organizations to interview our students. One of the beauties of Liberty University is that because we are a famous university on the East Coast, the largest Christian university in the world, is we bring in world-class speakers 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, convocation. So the leaders in government, business, athletics, entertainment, and these speakers help our students understand how the speaker has lived out his profession or her profession as a person of faith, as a businessman or an athlete or an entertainer. Amazing speakers. I think we've had 5 of the U.S. presidential candidates come speak to our students. One of the candidates, Ted Cruz, even announced his candidacy during convocation at Liberty University. So it's an opportunity for our students to be exposed to global leaders in many fields of life. They can see how others have worked out their faith as a professional. So we are an alcohol-free and tobacco-free campus. We do not have co-ed dorms. Again, we don't want the distractions. If you're a female, you shouldn't have to worry about your roommate bringing in a boy when you're trying to sleep. At University Liberty, we believe that's important to keep those distractions to a minimum. Brand new undergraduate residence halls for our students. Very exciting sports program, NCAA Division I, but we also have a very strong club sports program as well as intramurals. So as I say to our international students, and I'm going to be closing here shortly, that when they graduate from Liberty, we have done everything we can possibly do to support them and to help them be successful. We have all kinds of student leaders and professional leaders, counselors, shepherds, advocates, advisors to help our students be successful while they're here at Liberty. And Liberty is ranked #1 by bestcolleges.com 2 years in a row now for our campus food service. It's provided by Sodexo. I eat there as often as I can. It's very, very healthy. And again, we're focusing on healthy mind and body and spirit. And so eating the right food is actually very important to living a healthy lifestyle and to being a happy individual. Amazing extracurricular activities at Liberty. We have an equestrian center, we have a several-story rock climbing wall, state-of-the-art fitness center. We're the only university to have its own year-round snowless ski slope. And students can ski, can snowboard, or if you're not brave, you can go inner tubing for free, no extra charge. This is just part of the student life at Liberty University. We support our international students. We have opportunities for them to share their culture with our university community. We also work hard to help them understand American culture and to make sure that they get the most out of their experience here at Liberty. Many activities for our international students. We have a full-time International Student Center with a staff of advisors and specialists and many programs that go on throughout the year. And I can just say this international students have a tremendous time at this university. We mentioned our tuition, lowest 1/3 of private colleges among the United States colleges and universities, and our average scholarship for international students is over $5,000. And the way students can find out about their scholarship, and it's probably a question that they want to ask, is how do I find out how much scholarship that I qualify for? The way to do that is to submit an application, and you can do that through Plexuss, and submit your transcripts, your passport, your essay, and test scores. And our admission specialists will get back to you and tell you how much scholarship you qualify for. The key, whatever school you choose to attend, whether it's faith-based or not, whether it's Liberty or not, is to graduate as job ready as you can possibly be. And at Liberty, we take that very seriously. Practical experience, character development, network, and many learning opportunities, including our wonderful convocation 3 times a week, where we expose our students to some of the most amazing and successful people in the world today. Our admission requirements are fairly straightforward. Sina, you mentioned sometimes it's complex for students to apply to a university, and we try and keep it simple because we know there's a lot of decisions that students need to make. So we have our application. We have students to document their financial support, transcripts, their test scores, and if students do not, if English is not their native language, then we ask for a TOEFL score of 61 or a corresponding score on IELTS, and we also accept the ITEP, International Test of English Proficiency, ITEP Academic, in one of those 3 exams. As for a copy of the passport photo page, we do ask for students to submit an essay. We want to understand that the applicant knows they are applying to a faith-based university and that they will be a responsible participant while they're here at Liberty, even though they do not need to be a Christian. And then before we send the I-20, we ask for a $250 confirmation deposit. So here's our contact information. It's very simple. If you can just send an email to international@liberty.edu, and we would certainly welcome email inquiries. You can go to liberty.edu is our webpage, and if you want specific information, liberty.edu/international. So I have thoroughly enjoyed speaking to you today about the benefits of a faith-based university and the benefits of attending Liberty University. I hope you will consider attending this amazing university located in beautiful Central Virginia with students from 70+ countries and all 50 states. And I'm looking forward to hearing some of the questions that some of our listeners might have for us today. I have some of my staff here today, various admissions staff, and together I think we'll be able to field some questions if we have time, Sina. So thank you very much.
Well, Dr. Wegert, thank you so much for your time. I personally learned a lot about your university, and I think our audience definitely enjoyed it. So I am going to now open it up to questions. We do have some questions we got from Facebook Live and also some of the other questions. So I'm going to get started. Dr. Wegert, you can hear me, correct?
I can, sir. Thank you.
Wonderful. So the first question comes about students from India. If you do have any students from India, and as far as, yes, I think, and what do I need to apply? I think you answered that question, but if you can tell us if you have students from India, that would be wonderful.
Wonderful. We have a relatively small number of students from India, which is the largest democracy in the world, and we would be delighted to have applications from Indian students. One of the things that we find with Indian students is that Many of them come from a Hindu background, and we would want them to realize that this is a Christian university, and that they would be immersed in a Christian environment, but a very strong faith-based environment. Our food service is very well set up for vegetarians, and yet we also realize there are many Christians in India as well. We do ask our Indian students, because there's a great variety in the languages and the English proficiency. We do ask our applicants from India to take a TOEFL, or probably more popular in India would be the IELTS or the ITEP. Other than that, we welcome students from India, and I think many of our Indian students would really appreciate the wide variety of majors that we offer at Liberty University, as well as the scholarships that we offer to them.
Fantastic. My next question is around scholarship. As you know, this is definitely one of the more popular topics. I know you've covered it, but if there are anything else you can tell our students about scholarship, but also maybe anything around athletic scholarship, we get that a lot as well. I think that would be wonderful.
Good question. Thank you. First of all, on the academic side, we are going to make an initial scholarship decision based on a student's test scores and a student's grade average in high school, if they're straight out of high school. We do not require the SAT or the ACT for international students. And the reason we do not require it is because many of our international students do not have English as their native language, and we know that they would be at a disadvantage just from a linguistic standpoint if they were required to take the SAT or the ACT. However, it is possible for that ACT or SAT to actually help them. And so we ask students, if they take the SAT or ACT, to actually communicate with their admissions counselor what their score is, and we can tell them whether or not that score will help them with their scholarships. We have an honors program at Liberty University, and for many international students, they have the opportunity to enter the honors program, which affords an additional scholarship amount of, I think, $5,000, $4,000 additional scholarship if they earn a 4.0 grade average during their first semester at Liberty University. So it's possible for students to apply for the honors program before they come to Liberty. However, if they do not meet the qualifications for the honors program before they come to Liberty, if they earn a 4.0 during their first semester, they can apply for the honors program during the second semester and actually get an additional $4,000 on top of the academic scholarship that they will receive from the admissions office. We also have a Liberty Champion Scholarship, and we've arranged for all international students to be given the Liberty Champion Scholarship. Its total value over 4 years is $8,000. In the first year, that scholarship is $1,000 per year, and it increases incrementally beyond that. You mentioned the athletic scholarships. As NCAA Division I university, those scholarships are very competitive, but we do encourage students who have an athletic ability to contact our athletic department. That would be athletics@liberty.edu, and make application for athletic scholarships. But those athletes, if they come to Liberty for the first year, are able to try out for their particular sport, and perhaps will be given a scholarship for the following year if they make it onto the team. Our students are also encouraged to take leadership positions at the university. So if a student is entering grade 3, let's say as a rising junior or a rising senior, they can apply for resident advisor positions, which also affords additional scholarship monies for them. And there's other ways, of course, campus employment. We encourage our students to pursue campus employment and to offset some of the expenses. And so while we do not encourage students to think short term, we do work hard to make it possible for students to have lower expenses in the second and following years if they do get employment, if they do get additional scholarship assistance.
Okay, fantastic. Do you know how quickly you give students a decision about their admission from the time they apply?
See, that's a very good question. And if the file is complete, and by that I mean we receive the transcript, the essay, copy of the student's passport, copy of the student's application, we will work with that student and just be able to give that student a scholarship decision in a very short period of time. Many times students, because we do ask for an affidavit of financial support, the U.S. government and Liberty both require proof of financial ability for the first year. So to complete a student's file requires that bank statement, that affidavit of support from the sponsor or sponsors.
Sure.
But the admissions counselor can give the student an idea of what the scholarship package will look like, and then the student can provide the affidavit of support for the balance that's required.
How about their acceptance, if they've actually been accepted to the university from, let's say I apply, I give you all the right documents, hopefully for some of our students by end of this week. How long before I know if I've actually been accepted to a university?
If we receive a complete file, let's say it showed up in the FedEx today,
Sure.
within 2 weeks, we would have the student notified of his or her admission decision, his scholarship package, and once a student paid a $250 confirmation deposit, we would have a FedEx package on its way with an original letter of acceptance and an I-20 within a 2-week period.
Oh, that's wonderful. Great. Next question I actually have from Facebook Live was around housing, because I think it can be it's a pretty big move for a lot of our students coming from across the world. Do you help the student with housing, and how does that process go?
Oh, thank you for that, Facebook listener. Hello, everyone on Facebook. We have some amazing campus housing facilities at Liberty University. We have basically 4 tiers of housing, so students can select the amount of privacy that they wish to have in their dorms and the kind of amenities, the proximity to the central portion of campus. But we know that it is a long distance, and having traveled to places like Vietnam and China and South America, I know that showing up here after a long travels across the ocean is not an easy thing to do. And American students, they're coming with their parents in their cars, and they're unloading trunks and so forth. But our international students show up with 2 suitcases. So what we do is we make it very easy for them to select housing as part of the financial check-in process. We have an orientation. We pick the students up from the airport. We have an orientation where it's just our international students. We help them get settled into their campus housing. We have resident advisors. We have shepherds, other leaders in our campus who are going to help our students get culturally adjusted and get settled into campus so that they can be set up for success. It's a big move, and we do everything we can do here at Liberty to make that as smooth as possible, as easy as possible, and as friendly as possible, with welcoming smiles on the part of staff and fellow students who are helping our students move in.
Thank you for that. That's great. Next question, I think we get this a lot, is around transfer students. Especially we have some folks who've started perhaps college, maybe they might, I have a student that mentioned he's from Brazil, and he wants to transfer to perhaps Liberty, and he has completed first year and he's doing his sophomore year currently. Mm-hmm. What does that process look like, and do you accept those credits, or what's I think it's good from Brazil, but also it'd be good to get a general idea from countries around the world as well. What is
Yes, we welcome transfer students from around the world. If the student has attended a college or university that's approved by the Ministry of Education in their home country, then generally speaking, those credits will transfer to Liberty University. But because the education systems vary around the world, we do require our students who have transfer credit to submit their credentials, their transcripts to a credential evaluation service. And we can recommend those. We've often used the World Education Services, WES, but we have others as well, because they're the experts will tell us exactly what credits will transfer and how many credits will actually come for whatever subjects. And so I think you're going to find that most universities in the United States are going to ask for a credential evaluation of official transcripts. I'd also want to point out to our listeners that Liberty University is the largest nonprofit provider of online accredited education. So we have students who begin study abroad at Liberty with Liberty University online, and then those credits apply. There's no transfer because it's the same university. Those credits will not only save them money because they're studying at home with lower fees and no living expenses in the United States, and students can actually begin a degree program at Liberty University through Liberty University online, and then spend fewer number of years here on our residential campus, save time, save money. But on the transfer credit side, yes, very friendly, and the admission specialist will help the student find a credential evaluation service to work with, so we can get the maximum number of transfer credits posted to that student's degree program here at Liberty.
Fantastic. I think this was you answered my next question about online, which is great. We do have another question from Facebook, which was around, what if I'm new to my faith and how do I fit in?
Oh, that's a beautiful question. Liberty is such a welcoming environment that we have students who have no faith when they get here. And because of the spiritual life that's here and the energy and just the I want to say love, if I can use that word, that we have students who become people of faith while they're here at Liberty. Very welcoming, very nurturing, many opportunities to grow. And having been here for over 3 decades, I know in my heart that there are hundreds and hundreds of students that would just be very willing to welcome a person of young faith and to say, come, let's grow together in our understanding of faith and what that means and our understanding of God. And of course, at Liberty, as a faith-based school, we have courses. And the listeners should know that there are required courses in Bible and theology, so that all students will have a basic foundation in the faith that was part of the founding of Liberty University. So beautiful question. Would love to have that student apply to Liberty. Young faith, no faith, strong faith. We welcome applications from students of all degrees and all faiths.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Dr. Wegert. Next question is around simulation into the surrounding area. So as you know, a lot of students come from variety in different parts of the world, and I know you might have mentioned some of these things, but we did get another question about simulation. I think what does Liberty do specifically to help students just become more simulated into culture, American culture? I think that would be helpful.
Very good question. Liberty University is located in Virginia, and if you've studied U.S. history, you know that there a lot of American history took place in Virginia. The first permanent English settlement, the end of the Civil War, took place about 20 minutes from Lynchburg, Virginia. The end of the last battle of the War for Independence. George Washington's home is in Virginia. Thomas Jefferson's home is in Virginia. So the Office of International Student Services actually takes tours and gives our students opportunities to travel to some of these locations. We also have opportunities through our student activities department, as many activities to help the students learn the surrounding culture. We have the Blue Ridge Mountains with the Blue Ridge Parkway, the Appalachian Trail, many parks, and really nice areas outdoors here at Liberty that we take the students to. Lynchburg itself is absolutely a beautiful city. It's rich in history. We have some really nice shopping here. And it's a beautiful town. It's not a large city. It's not like New York City or Washington, D.C. So we happen to be in a very safe location. And there's strong faith in our city of Lynchburg because of the large influence of Liberty University, with 15,000 students on our campus and 2,000 faculty and staff. We have Liberty Christian Academy. We have a strong graduate program. So there's tens of thousands of faith-based individuals here in the city of Lynchburg who have moved here because of this university, and that has made this town just a very vibrant town with many other universities here. There's a lot of young people in this city, many opportunities to participate in the local culture and in the American history and American culture.
Okay, this is great. So first of all, I do want to thank over 1,000 students who joined us on Facebook Live. So thank you everybody for joining us. I think Dr. Wegert gave us a fantastic presentation. and his answers to the students' questions were extremely detailed, and I think everybody enjoyed that. You should see you're able to contact Liberty University directly at international@liberty.edu. You can also go to liberty.edu/international to get more information. As Dr. Wegert mentioned, you are able to apply to Liberty University through Plexuss One app, and we are very thankful to them to have waived their application fee. This is normally over $50, so it's a fantastic. We really appreciate that. Our students appreciate that, and we're excited for our students to potentially go to Liberty University. Dr. Wegert, again, thank you for your time. I'm going to turn it over to you if you have any last comments.
Sina, I just want to thank you and Plexuss for the opportunity to participate in this webinar. I know, as a father of 8 children and as a professional student, it seems like, that the college choice process is a very important decision. It's a decision that will impact you for the entirety of your life. And so I encourage all of our listeners to make that decision wisely, to study it thoroughly, and to think not just academics, not just ranking, but think of my life preparation, think of the network of people that I will have as my friends for the rest of my life, think of location and safety, which is a big issue today. And we really do appreciate the opportunity to speak today, and we look forward to receiving some applications from your listeners. God bless you guys.
Thank you so much. Have a good day. God bless. Bye.